Sometimes it's about knowing what to do. Other times it's more important to know what not to do. In this episode of the Content Box podcast, we're going to learn how to not get ripped off by your marketing agency. Hello and welcome back to the Content Box, the podcast that is your full service marketing solution. I'm Matt Tompkins, your host of Two Brothers Creative, and I'm joined by the one, the only, the incredible, the spectacular, the rainbow-licious Tracy Winkler.
What's with the pause?
And no credit to rainbow-licious. I think I just invented a word.
Rainbow, I've never heard that.
Rainbow-licious.
So where'd you come up with that?
That just popped out.
Okay.
I'm just weird. I'm very weird. I don't know if you noticed that.
I'm admitting that.
Yes.
I agree.
But I'm like a good weird. It's not,
You
like
are
a
a good
creepy
weird.
It's like a, oh yeah, I want him at this party for sure. That kind of weird.
It's that kind of weird.
Yeah.
And but that's why we're here.
It's good. Women dig that kind of weird, right? Right? All right, moving on to the episode. So this is the topic, how to not get ripped off by your marketing agency. This is a topic I think among marketers, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, it's like watching TLC. Like I can't get enough of it. It's like this gossip. Everybody talks about these stories, these situations where other agencies and individuals and marketing gurus, and it's a sham, it's a scam. And so we talk about it all the time behind the scenes. You hear about these things, you're like, oh, here's who you should avoid. And here's
right.
And then we looked up the numbers because we actually wanted to see like how much money is actually like stolen from business owners every year.
And it's a lot.
Billions of dollars. Billions. Plural. Billions of dollars. And that doesn't even count like the services where you have a marketing agency and they're kind of doing something, but they're not really doing it well. It's not producing any results, which is most marketing agencies I've found.
Yeah.
That does not even factor in. If you factor that in, I think it is, unfortunately, the norm to get taken advantage of when it comes to marketing.
Unfortunately, I really do agree. And that's kind of why I got into marketing. I technically was not a marketer, but I was seeing holes in marketing and wondering what people were paying for.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of people come to us, a lot of stories, a lot of people, tens of thousands of dollars lost down the drain. And they come to us and we've helped. Our company has grown because of just that, helping people who have come to us, they've been ripped off and taken advantage of. So in this episode, Tracy and I want to give you some of the red flags you should look out for, some of the green flags you want to see, because you can protect yourself. And the goal of this podcast really from the beginning was kind of twofold. We wanted to equip you so that you could do your own marketing, or at the very least, equip you so that you could protect yourself, so you didn't get ripped off. Because my God, how many narcissists are in marketing?
Oh,
There are so many narcissists in marketing. Why is that?
The stories they tell,
Yeah.
and the manipulation and the charm.
Oh.
They charm you and bring you in, and if you're a trusting soul, you're going to believe that they're going to deliver on what they say, and
Yes.
most of them are not. Am I right?
You're right. Yes. So narcissists run rampant in marketing. It is like the perfect, I don't know, I wanted to say storm, but it's kind of a cesspool, really. So you have like
Cesspool is a good word.
What is a narcissist? So a narcissist is somebody who's created their own reality, and it's their reality, and they're only going to view it that way. Like, so it's almost like they're in their own, like, remember the movie, The Truman Show?
Yeah.
Right. So there's their own little bubble, right?
They're in their
Nothing
own,
can break it. If you do break that reality, you're either going to get a very violent reaction, or they'll just collapse and shatter and they don't know what to do, right? But narcissists will manipulate. It is intentional. They take advantage of people, like you said, who are empathetic and caring, and they will manipulate you. Well, they're like set up perfectly for marketing. Like, marketing is manipulating. I don't mean that in a negative sense.
No, there's a good side. Yeah, there's two sides to it. You have the dark and then the light. And the light side would be, and the optimistic side would be that you are influencing. But more than not, where do you see that crossover? And what are some stories that you've seen and heard?
So we had one client come to us a couple of years ago. Had a local marketing agency. They're an SEO company managing their quote unquote SEO. So we get into the contract, and I was just curious. At this time, we weren't even doing full service SEO management. So here's red flag number one. Like, is the contract clear? Do you know what you're actually paying for? And you've done some work. We don't have to name names, but there are agencies who just don't do a contract period.
Correct.
Which is insane.
It is insane.
Insane for both parties.
It absolutely. And it's risky, and it's, you wonder why they don't do it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
What's the real reason behind it?
So number one, do they have a contract? Have you signed something? Do you clearly know what you're getting? And if you don't, ask them to define it in there. That's really
what's the scope of work?
Yes, because how do you set expectations? How do you set limitations? Is it just unlimited blogs every month? You get 10 million blogs a month. There's no term stated. But this contract we were looking at for this particular client, they came to us. They were paying $10,000 per month just on their Google ads. So they're just spending 10 grand on the Google ads. Now, typical agency is going to take, maybe 20% or 25% of that is the pay. So that's on top of that, right? So you have to pay for managing the Google ads. This particular company had it set up where it was like anything over $750. It was like, I don't understand how their math worked, but they were paying like an extra 2 or 3 grand on top of the 10 grand. So it was way more than they should have been paying as this management fee. They had so far, they did this for 3 months. So in the period that I saw and tracked their website analytics, 3 months, 10 grand per month. So look at 30 grand plus, let's say 2-3 grand a month, probably around $50,000 spent over a 3-month period.
Sure.
And 0 leads, 0.
Oh.
I dug into it. Turns out, they linked it to the wrong page. So they had it linked. They had an entire campaign for one particular audience, and it was linking them to a completely different thing. Like it was a website where it was like apply here to work here, and then the other one was hire here. Well, they wanted people to go to the hire, and they were sending people to the apply. So got nothing.
So where's the checks and balances?
There is none. And I think that's a red flag too. Would you say if there isn't any form of accountability in place?
Yes.
Is there a monthly or weekly meeting cadence where they're reporting what's happening and they're talking about what's going on? Is that happening? I mean, where's the accountability? So
and some experiences I've had, and we'll just kind of go into this, is vanity metrics.
You've had some pretty insane experiences.
I have. And so there's vanity metrics and then there's actual metrics. And so you can spin it and try to tell the client what they think is important, but is it important? And how do they know? Mm-hmm. So what do you think? Have you seen the vanity metrics yourself, or anybody, an example that you've seen? Because I have a few examples.
Oh, God, yeah. Everything requires context. Life is about context. There is no black and white. Everything lives
Shades of gray.
Shades of gray. 50 of them.
Yeah, 50 in fact, and especially in marketing.
Yeah, but there are, and that's where we live. That's where human experience is. That's where we feel. That's where we're hurt, where we're happy, joy, all these things happen in the gray, the 50 Shades of Gray.
The 50
All I'm thinking about now is BDSM, and I want to get that image out of my head, Tracy.
We're not going to go there. We're not going to skip, move on.
Okay.
All
right, getting back on track. Okay, so yes, you want to look at metrics, but you need to have some sort of standing meeting. So red flag number one, do you have a contract in place? Right?
Yep.
If you don't, if it's not clear, I want to say this about the contract, and it's just an additional red flag if I could throw it on.
Throw it on. I want to hear this.
Everything should be simplified so that you can clearly understand what it is. All right. This happens in marketing, and it's so easy in marketing. If you're a good salesperson, if you're a narcissist, you got a lot of charm, whatever, it is easy to talk over people, through people, down to people. There are a million acronyms I can throw, like, hey, all right, you're going to check your SEO, and then you get your VSEO, and then you get your CRM. And it's like, what is happening right now?
Local SEO, technical SEO.
Yeah, on-site, off-site.
Yes.
It is easy to make this sound like it's magic, and unfortunately, most of these, we had an individual, again, we're not here to name names, but literally found out they knew nothing. It was revealed. It was like a big reveal at the end of a TV show where you watch for the season finale, and it's like, it was really Mr. Cooper down at the farmhouse this entire time. It was that level of reveal. They had an entire company built on this service, and they literally knew nothing. It was a total house of cards.
So smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. It is easy to do that, though. It's easy when you're equipped with all these analytics that you can twist and turn. You have social media. Let's be honest, there's glitz and glam. It's like this Hollywood thing. I can bring a client in here in our studio. I can make them feel incredible. I can sit them down in the chair. I can talk to them, have them on the podcast.
Is that what you're doing to me right now?
I'm trying to get you as a client, Tracy. All right.
Gotcha. Okay, this is working. So this is, red flag.
This is a long game.
Okay, red flag number one.
But you can do it, and then you're not in the right state of mind. Your body, your head's releasing dopamine. You're feeling, oh my gosh, I'm going to be on TikTok. Oh, I'm going to be a star. So just slow your roll, calm down, and you need to be able to understand all of it. It needs to be explained clearly. You need it in writing. That's the starting point.
Yep.
And if they can't do that, if they can't in a monthly meeting explain to you what your Google Analytics, your GA4 report is telling you about engagement, scroll, and bounce rate, and what those things mean in simplified terms, then they are not the partner for you. That let me say, that's a red flag. I don't want to say exclude them, but that is a red flag. You need to say, listen, what bounce rate? What the fuck is a bounce rate? Like, I mean, like explain that to me in lay terms. Like I'm a layperson here, so I can understand it.
You know, and that brought to mind, most of the people that we're dealing with and working with, they have companies to run. This is not what they have time to do. They want to trust us.
Yeah.
They want to trust who they're working with. And so how do you show that trust? How do we show that trust? Because, you know, that's the number one thing. And it's like, I think that stands behind the Midwest mindset and everything that you believe in here at Two Brothers, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that, because I'm just curious as we're going through this.
So the Midwest mindset was the previous name of our podcast. We're hoping it next year it'll be a nonprofit, which we're excited to be rolling out. But the mindset itself is simple. It's the Midwest mindset is helping others without expecting anything in return. And when you do that with true intent, it has the highest return of all. It does. We've all experienced that, right? I believe personally that the Midwest mindset is the one thing you can do above all other things that will move the most. You help somebody else. You know, you leave a card with a $100 bill to a person who just cleans your car, or do it anonymously. You slip it in somebody's office as you're walking by their cubicle. They never know who gave it. The impact, the ripple effect that has, right? So I try and practice that every day. You know, pick 3 people, do something nice, do it anonymously. Like, it's incredible though how much it makes you feel, right? And so when you're trying to build trust, like what does this have to do with, you know, not getting ripped off by a marketing agency?
Well, it has a lot to do. To me,
it's about trust.
It is about
how you
trust.
Build trust. Like, if you're Tracy, if you're willing to help me and you're not asking for anything in return,
right?
You're just doing it because you care,
yes.
Right? And obviously, I'm dashing and I'm, you know, have all the charm, so that is probably why you're in this too. But like, you know,
well, okay,
but
no.
Oh, no. But no, for real, Tracy's just helping me because she wants to help me. What's that do? It builds trust, right?
Yes.
So ask your marketing agency to do something. Like, actions are the only way you can build trust. So if they're coming at you and they're saying, hey, we want, you know, $20,000 a month to do this, and you're like, I don't really know what all this means. They can't simplify it for you. And then they're not willing to do something that's a sign of good faith. Like, we usually do a website audit, like not a deep dive, but like Skyview website audit, or here's a content brief, give you some ideas, kind of work through. We'll sit down, we'll go through a strategy and put together a proposal. You could take that proposal and you could go hire a different marketing agency if you wanted to, and have them execute it.
Or DIY it.
Like, but I always want people to leave any interaction with us with something of value. Like,
yes,
you know.
Absolutely. And so thank you for clarifying the Midwest mindset and going down that little bit of a rabbit hole. But trust, integrity, authenticity, those are all big words that we're throwing out, but it's really clear. It's like that accountability that you can show that really is one of the green flags to be looking for. What are some other green flags that you feel are important that, you know, small businesses should be looking for when they're bringing on an agency? When
you're looking at a marketing agency, like, you want to, like, do I trust this person? That's first and foremost above everything else. How do you know if you can trust this person? You don't have time to build trust. Well, verify. Like, I mean, don't just look at their website and their testimonials. Like, call people that have worked with them.
Yep.
Like, see, like,
case studies.
I mean, pretty much every client that we have had, well, not every, we have a number who found us organically through our website, but like, we haven't done any outbound marketing. We haven't done any sales campaigns that are like targeted outreach to date. It's all of our clients have come to us, have found us organically through our organic content, through things like this podcast and videos, and then through referral marketing. Through referral. Word of mouth.
It is. It's like people who work with those that they know, like, and trust before they try, buy, and refer. And, you know, we had a conversation earlier today with a potential client, you and I did, and we were just talking about, you know, the business that they do, and their business is the same. It's referral.
Yeah.
And most everything we do, and that client, that prospect that came in, is a referral, and someone we know, and someone that has trust in us.
Yeah.
So it was our own personal trust. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Like, if somebody's referring you, obviously that's a big trust builder. gauging how honest and transparent they are from the beginning. You know, like, I want to see your system. I want to see what you're planning to do. Get into the weeds, you know, or if they don't have a strategy plan that they're laying out, if they're just throwing tactics at you, that's a big red flag. If they're just throwing out those stuff like, hey, we're going to do Facebook, we're going to do Instagram, we're going to do this, those are tactics. They need to be tied together with a strategy, campaigns, that kind of stuff. It needs to be well thought out with intention. Just posting to post just does not work anymore. I'm sorry, it just does not work. There's too much content out there. AI is in the game now. You have to really have well thought out, planned content. Like, less is more right now in this day and age. And so if they're not presenting a strategy, they're not being transparent or honest, if they are rushing you, that's a big red flag. If they're pushing you to sign, then you need to maybe take a step back.
I agree with that. And, you know, I'm going back to the strategy piece of it, and how often most of them tend to be very tactical in nature, and, you know, taking the approach of what is best for them, not what is best for what we do, and actually even turning people away. If we're not the right fit, we want to make sure that they can get a better fit, because we don't offer, or we've been ones to refer on to others to partner with, or, you know, just because that's not in our wheelhouse. Yeah. So we don't want to be that approach, the all one approach. And there's many that say, hey, we got that, we can handle all of it. Yeah. When really that's not true.
We just did an episode recently. The way you sell is by not selling. You can post the link in the description here. Make sure you have access to that. But that's the thing. Like, you're not selling. And if you have somebody who's selling, who's pushing, that's kind of a red flag to me. If they're just being like, hey, we're just here to help. What do you need? I have had, if you counted up the number of meetings, the number of hours of my life on Zoom, in person, that I have just basically given away to people who never paid me $1, who I never helped. Like, sometimes there's multiple meetings. Like, I'm kind of a glutton for punishment. I say punishment, but like, I love to help people. And sometimes it gets the best of me, and I give too much, you know, and I've got to rein myself back in. But the hours I've given, I'm saying all of this because I see that and you're like, okay, this is a pattern. It's a track record of helping somebody, being genuine. I can trust that person.
Think about this, though. And I have no expectations when I'm helping people. And I understand you have to put boundaries on things. But also, I've had people come back a year, 2 years, even 3 years later because of the help I've given, or they referred someone else because I was helpful. You were helpful. So wouldn't you rather be helpful and then hopeful that they'll either come or not? And it's like, to me, it's not transactional. It's all about the relationship. Mm-hmm. I'd rather build a relationship over a transaction any day.
Yep. What are some of the other red flags that you have pulled here?
Oh, some of the red flags. Collaborative partnership. Got a few things on the list here. Focus on measurable goals and ROIs.
Yeah. Setting metrics is important. And even it's easy to forget that in the process. Like, I've had that with us, with clients, and we forget, like, hey, we haven't really set what our measurables are going to be.
Or does the client even know? It's like we have to dig in deeper. Yeah. What do you really, really want? What are you really after?
And it can get you into trouble. Like, if you're a marketing director, you're running a marketing department, and you have to report to somebody, right? And you don't have clear metrics, then perception enters the game. And if you work in marketing, you know perception, that's all marketing is. Well, then it's just opinions. And we had this battle with a client recently where there was one person involved who stepped in, was declaring things about website performance analytics that just weren't true. It didn't align with the reality of the analytics. They didn't even have access to the analytics to even know. So it was pure speculation and conjecture. And then that starts to influence decisions and things with other people. It starts to create this toxicity, and that can really lead to some big problems. So, And was this person not informed? There are a lot of people, everybody thinks they know everything about marketing.
Sure they do.
Everybody thinks that since they've got a phone and they've got the mobile apps, they can market their business. And I'm here to tell you that most of the marketing agencies, the professionals, aren't really doing that great. They're not doing that great of a job. They're just following what everybody else is doing, right? It's just rinse and repeat. Some that do a great job. There's some great work here locally.
Yeah, there are.
So it's not like they don't exist, but everybody thinks they know marketing. everybody does not, most people do not know marketing. They don't know what they're doing. And so I think you get into the territory where you have people of influence or power getting into decision making, and then it gets tricky because then now their decision, their opinion carries some weight. So then you're convincing someone like, hey, no, don't do this thing that's going to hurt your business, your mission, your focus, because that's what's going to happen. So you want to have getting back to the red flags, that to me is a red flag too. If you have a marketing company, an agency that isn't stopping you, that's just always saying yes, yep, we'll do that, and they're not saying no. Like, I mean, I have had to somewhere like we have to walk away, we have to part ways, because what you want to do and what you're forcing us to do is hurting you and your business, and we didn't sign up to like hurt your business,
No, we're here to help you grow, but we have to have clarity. We have to have a clear vision, and we have to understand what the outcome is that you're trying to get, you, the customer. So
I have a question for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you get out of then? Because I think that to kind of wrap our conversation up here today, we have all these different warning flags, red flags that you want to look out for, green flags you want to look for. But let's say you're stuck and you're stuck in this like dysfunctional marriage with a marketing agency. You're being taken advantage of. How do you get out? Like, there's a lot of moving parts here. It's not just like an easy, see you later.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And I've experienced it. I've experienced it with a client. I was kind of the third party involved. There was some contractual things that we had, and we also had to just make sure everything was covered. And we had to make sure that as the side of the client, they weren't assuming things, that this was valid. So there was some research that had to be done and some proof behind the scenes, but it took a little time, and we didn't want to rush and make a wrong decision because, there is perception. And so you just have to be cautious. You have to communicate well. I think that's one of the big things. Communicate well between the agency and the client, and make sure if you do have a contract, read it clearly. And if you don't have a contract, in this case, actually, we did not. It was not contractual in one of the situations, but it was really just timing was of the essence. It was a big move.
And here, we're based out of the state of Nebraska, where a verbal agreement can constitute a legal partnership.
Absolutely,
and so,
can.
You do want to be careful, even though you may not have a signed agreement. It probably wouldn't hold up in court. Just going to court in the first place to prove that you're right is going to cost you $10,000 to $20,000. So you want to be very careful with this. On the front end, obviously the solution is like thoroughly vet who you're partnering with. Green flags to look for, like we offered this, there's no long-term contract. It's like 60-day notice for cancellation of services if that happens. And that's that. You need a contract and agreement that states ownership of all your assets.
Oh, that was a big one.
Like if you're just handing this over, that person owns your assets. They have it. They own it. And then things like usage rights for photos, if they're building your website, like just all of this needs to be clearly laid out in agreement from the front end. In that agreement, you need to state the expectations. Like, what are the deliverables? How many, when? You need to know all those details. And then when you get into the actual execution of the marketing, regular meeting cadences and having measurables, accountability, like you said, collaborating in this process and having you involved, all those things really need to be locked in the front end. You want to be very careful with who you kind of get into the marketing bed with.
That is 100%. And I think today we're going to leave our guests with a downloadable checklist, because we've been rambling on about a few things, but we want to put it in a very concise list.
Yeah. So, and we have this in the show notes right now. Download our free PDF. It is the Is My Marketing Company Ripping Me Off Checklist. I love the name.
Yes.
Long name, amazing results.
Yes.
All right, Tracy, everybody's been ripped off. Let's be honest. Everybody's been hoodwinked.
Hoodwinked is it.
It's happened. We've all been scammed.
We all have been, but we want to like dispel that myth. We want to pull back the curtains and really show you what real marketing looks like. Yeah. Well, yeah, what it looks like. Thanks for finishing my.
Look at us.
Because sometimes we're like,
we're
frickin' frack.
We're like a work couple.
Yes.
Finishing each other's
sentences.
See, there we go.
Yes.
Teamwork makes the dream work. There we go. Yes. pull back the curtain, ask the questions, push, challenge. Like, you're paying them a lot of money to do this. If they can't do that, then, it's let them go their merry way. Marketing is the foundation for your business. It's critical. You cannot grow any business without marketing. That's just a fact. And so you're handing this off. You're handing the future of your business off to someone, and you need to trust them. You need to buy into it. So download that free checklist, go through it, be cautious, keep your head on a swivel. And if you need help, reach out to us at any time. We are happy to jump in and help you with your marketing here at Two Brothers Creative. For Tracy Winkler, I am Matt Tompkins. We'll see you in the next episode.
See you next time.